Hello. Hello to whoever's watching, and hello to my dear old friend, and I don't mean that he's old, although he's kind of old. Old friend from my past, Rich, who asked me to help him with some hip stretches and some IT band stretches. So I'm not going to get into a lot of detail about anatomy right now. We all know the hips are a joint with some muscles around them, like the glutes, the hip flexors, and the IT band is not actually a muscle, but a piece of fascia or connective tissue. And the IT band is a big piece of connective tissue that runs along the side of the leg, and it does connect to the hips, the glutes, the hamstrings, the thigh muscles, and the knees. And so stretching the IT band is not necessarily difficult, but important. So I'm not going to be able to go into all the wonderful yoga stretches that you could do for the IT band and the hips, but I'm going to do a couple, and a couple of my favorites. So for the IT band and the hamstrings, I'm going to start with a standing forward fold. Right? So just come into a forward fold, Uttanasana, right? And then cross one leg over the other leg. You're going to get a deep stretch on the IT band of the back leg, a little bit of stretch on the IT band of the front leg, and some stretch on both hamstrings. You want to lock out the knees, keep them just a little bit soft, but legs straight-ish. Okay? Both sides, and relax into it. So I try to hold these stretches for at least 45 seconds, perhaps a minute longer. It takes at least 30 seconds and a number of deep breaths for the tightness to start to release and the stretch to really sink in. So standing forward bend with legs crossed. Great hamstring and IT band stretch. All right, let's get into one of my absolute favorites, lizard lunge. So you're going to come into a low lunge, and you're going to walk your hands inside of that front foot. It's also called runner's lunge. Okay? So right here, with that back knee down, I'm going to keep that back knee behind the hip. Right? It might be for some just a little bit behind the hip, but basically walk it back as far as you can, and keep the front knee over top of the front ankle to begin. You're going to receive some stretch on the glutes, the outer hip on that front leg, and the hip flexor, and the thigh on the back leg, and the IT band on that back leg. All right, so you can stay here as long as you're comfortable. For more flexy people, you can come down to your elbows and your forearms to deepen the stretch. You want to let your hips soften, sink forward and down. Okay? And for the IT band, I really like this variation. I'm going to take this left hand to the left knee, roll to the outer edge of that foot, the pinky toe edge of the foot, and just guide that knee open, coming into a twist, and you're going to feel some nice stretch there on the IT band on the front leg. If you want to add a nice hip flexor and thigh stretch for the back leg at this point, bend the back leg with that free hand, you can catch that foot. This might be a lot of stretch already. If you could take some more, you can guide that foot a little closer to the back body. All right, let's move into, of course, do that on both sides. Okay, so let's move into one of my favorite seated hip stretches, Baddha Konasana, or butterfly, or cobbler's pose. Soles of the feet together. Now for some people, this is going to look different. Your knees might be a little bit more raised. You can put some pillows or blocks or support underneath your knees if they feel really tense, because you want to try to let them soften and relax down. If you are comfortable bringing the sit bones and the heels closer together, great. Bring the heels and the sit bones closer together. Now, if you're sitting up nice and tall, and this is already a deep stretch, stay. If you can take some more stretch on the inner thighs and the outer glutes, then lean forward. So So I don't want to say fold forward, I want to say lean forward. So imagine that your torso, back, front is a board, all right? And we're just going to lean it forward so that you're keeping your chest broad and open as you come forward. Okay? And you'll feel more and more stretch the deeper you lean into it. All right. Let's move on. Half Lord of the Fishes. This is a twisted, seated pose. One of my favorite seated twists. And excuse my dirty feet. All right, so you can stretch one leg straight out in front of you. Take the other leg, cross it over at the knee, just above the knee. Okay? Right here, you might already start to feel some stretch on the IT band and the glutes on that bent leg. You get stretch on the hamstring of the front leg if you leave it extended. You can also fold this other leg in, placing the heel beside your hip, not underneath your hip, so that you're still seated on both sit bones, evenly seated. And we're going to add a twist, right? I like to start with a nice inhale, make lots of space in the body, and then as you exhale, twist towards your bent knee. Option 2, wrap your elbow around your knee, or take your elbow to the outer edge of the knee. You're going to bring that opposite hand behind the body and use it for support so that you stay seated tall. Right? Now, the more you press this knee away from you with the arm or elbow, the more you'll feel that stretch on the IT band. So good for hips and IT band. Half Lord of the Fishes pose. Take this seated twist on both sides. So we'll just do one more time. Make some space, lift up, be tall and spacious, and then with your space intact, move into the twist. You're going to get a deeper twist if you lift through the body first, and then the twist. So you notice on this side, I'm just doing the other option and grabbing the knee with the elbow. You're using that arm, press the knee away from you to get a deeper stretch on the IT band and glutes. All right, and let's just do, since we did a standing pose, seated pose, let's do a reclined pose too. So this is a great one. Thread the needle, or basically a reclined pigeon pose. So we're going to lay down, take one foot onto the floor, and cross the, oh look, it's the dirty feet again. We're going to cross the other ankle right on top of that knee. Now, right here, if you just kind of guide your knee away from you, you will feel some stretch in the glutes and the IT band. And this might be, depending on your body's condition, this might be pretty intense. If not, you know, lift that leg up and run your hands through and around the leg. You can hold onto the back of your thigh or maybe the front of your shin. And then just gently and mindfully pull that front knee, that bent knee, in towards you while you work the other knee away from you. Keeping both feet flexed, particularly this crossed foot. Don't let it be lazy. Flex the foot, drive the heel out, pull the toes in, and this will help to protect your knee joint while you're in this stretch. Now, if you want to add just a little more for the hamstring, you can take this top leg, straighten it up, and now we want to fiercely flex this foot as well. Heel drives up, toes pull in, right? And then you can guide this leg towards your body while the other knee works away. Okay, so great stretch for hamstrings, IT band, and hips. Alrighty. I hope some of these stretches feel good. If it's uncomfortable but not painful, then it feels good. Namaste.